This was a tremendous loss in our community. We lost 20 people in an instant, and we did not get to tell their stories enough. These are stories that we should have told a long time ago. I'm Subrina Dhammi, and here's a peek into our special, The Healing, the Schoharie Limo Tragedy, 5 years later. After the trial finished in this case in May, we refocused over the summer and thought, look, October will mark 5 years since this horrific crash. How do we cover it? What should we do? And I sat down with our news director and said, well, what about the families? We haven't had the opportunity to talk about the victims in depth. And now that the trial is behind them, I said, well, let me start reaching out to some families and see if they want to do that, if they just want to sit down and talk about their loved ones. And the response was overwhelming, where most of the families right away said, absolutely, I'd love to talk about my son, I'd love to talk about my daughter, I'd love to tell everyone who they are, who they were, and a lot of them said, I don't want them to be forgotten.
I think of her every day.
These are mothers, fathers, stepmothers, brothers, dear friends who sat down and shared the stories of 15 people. We have 4 sisters, the King sisters. We spoke with their mother and father and their longtime friend. We talked to the parents of Michael Ukai. We traveled to Maine to sit down and speak with them. We traveled to Florida to speak with the mother of Shane McGowan. She talked about how he died a couple of months after he got married. These were very emotional conversations, as you can imagine. There were a lot of tears. They're reliving the horror while having these conversations. But at the same time, there were a lot of smiles. There was a lot of laughter. We talked about what they were like as kids. This group, the 15 people who we had the chance to really sit down and get to know more, they all know each other. They were all connected in a way. They were either longtime friends, or they were in sports together, or they went to college together. There was a connection in some way, and that's why they were all together that day. Throughout these conversations, I've learned just how truly loving and supportive this community is and has been to these families. You know, thank goodness we live where we live, and that we have the people we have here, and that throughout this unimaginable loss, that these people had this community to lean on. Most of these conversations have ended with these families saying, thank you. Thank you for keeping my loved one alive. You know, thank you for making the time to sit down and talk. So. It's okay. No, it's just, it was really sad. But in all my years here, the stories that matter the most to me are the stories that affect people. And it means a lot to me to be able to tell these stories. I would say, you know, after this special airs, that the grief is not over for these families, and for anyone who has experienced loss, that it doesn't just end, right? So if we can just all continue to do what we can do as a community to keep that love and support going, right? That's the part that we can do. You can watch our special coverage October 5th at 8 p.m. on our sister station, My 4, and then once again October 8th, 11 a.m. on News Channel 13. I'm Subrina Dhammi. Thank you for watching.